What if I told you the very thing weighing you down right now, the regret, the anger, the fear, doesn't actually come from life itself, but from the way you're gripping it? The Stoics believed our chains are not forged by events, but by our refusal to release them. And in today's world, where every headline, every post, every voice tells you to cling tighter, to grudges, to approval, to perfection, that wisdom is more urgent than ever. Because here in America, we live in a culture that confuses letting go with giving up, when in reality, letting go is the most courageous act of all. Release, freedom, growth. These aren't just lofty words you scroll past on a motivational feed. They're the keys that unlock a life worth living. Right now, as you listen, you're carrying something heavy. Maybe it's resentment that's been gnawing at you for months. Maybe it's regret over a choice you can't take back. Maybe it's the fear of judgment if you finally dare to live your truth. Or maybe it's the silent pressure of always trying to measure up to someone else's expectations. Family, friends, bosses, even strangers online. Our culture glorifies holding on. Hold on to relationships that drain you because walking away feels scary. Hold on to jobs that suffocate your spirit because at least they look good on paper. Hold on to anger because they don't deserve forgiveness. Hold on to perfectionism because anything less feels like failure. But here's the truth the Stoics understood. Gripping tighter doesn't protect you, it breaks you. The more you resist, the more life slips through your fingers like sand, leaving you exhausted, bitter, and empty-handed. Every single day, you face a choice. Carry yesterday's burdens or set them down. Spend your energy wrestling with battles already lost, or redirect that strength toward building the future you still have power to shape. Epictetus once said, "We suffer not from the events themselves, but from the stories we tell ourselves about them." That's what resistance is, a story we refuse to stop replaying, even when it hurts us more than the memory itself. Picture this: a branch weighed down with snow. The rigid oak resists and snaps, but the willow bends, lets the snow slide away, then rises unbroken. Yielding didn't make it weak, it preserved its strength. That's the Stoic art of letting go, staying rooted in what matters, while being flexible enough to bend with life's storms instead of shattering against them. Letting go is not indifference. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the decision to stop gripping what you can't control, so you can pour your energy into what you can. It's inner freedom, the kind no circumstance, no person, no mistake can take from you. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's what letting go unlocks, not apathy, but power. And here's the paradox. When you finally release, you don't lose, you gain. The mental space once consumed by resentment becomes room for creativity. The emotional energy burned by worry becomes fuel for action. The hours wasted replaying old conversations become time to build something new. You don't become careless. You become careful with what truly matters. This isn't abstract philosophy. It's practical psychology. When you fight reality, your nervous system stays locked in fight or flight. Stress hormones rise, judgment clouds, clarity disappears. But when you accept what is while focusing on what could be, your body calms, your mind clears, and your choices come from wisdom instead of wounds. Think about it. How many times have you wasted entire days replaying an argument, scrolling through someone's highlight reel on social media, or holding back your dreams because of a what if? That's resistance in action. But acceptance doesn't mean settling. It means seeing clearly where your energy actually belongs. It means recognizing that your peace of mind is too valuable to be held hostage by old grudges, past mistakes, or other people's opinions. So, if you're ready to stop being a prisoner of your past and start becoming the architect of your future, if you're ready to exchange struggle for flow and resistance for resilience, then stay with me. Because what I'm about to share are 9 Stoic principles that can transform your life starting today. Hit that like button, drop a comment about what you're finally ready to release, and share this with someone who needs the reminder. And let's anchor this together with one powerful affirmation. Type it below and let it echo in your mind. I let go and move forward. Number 1, release the illusion of control. The first and most important step in mastering the art of letting go is recognizing a truth most people spend their entire lives avoiding. You control far less than you think. In fact, you control almost nothing except your own thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Epictetus, the former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic teachers, said it best. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. That one sentence is the foundation of freedom. Seneca echoed this when he observed, "Every new thing excites the mind, but a mind that seeks the truth turns from the new to the eternal." And the eternal truth is this: your peace does not come from controlling your circumstances, but from controlling your relationship with your circumstances. Right now, you might be carrying the weight of 10 different situations you're trying to control. Maybe you're trying to make someone love you in the way you want. Maybe you're forcing a career path that keeps hitting walls. Maybe you're trying to control your children's choices, your partner's moods, or your boss's opinion of you. But here's the reality. When you fight to control what lies outside your reach, you create constant tension. You're pushing against immovable forces, and that resistance breeds suffering. It's like trying to hold back the ocean with your bare hands, exhausting and futile. The illusion of control is seductive. It makes us feel powerful in the moment, but it leaves us powerless in the long run. When you believe you should control every outcome, every disappointment feels like a personal failure. Every unexpected result feels like proof you're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough. But what if you flipped the script completely? What if, instead of trying to control results, you focused all your energy on controlling inputs, your effort, your mindset, your response? That's where real power lives. You cannot control whether someone hires you, but you can control how well you prepare for the interview. You cannot control whether someone loves you back, but you can control how authentically you express your love. You cannot control whether your business succeeds, but you can control the quality and consistency of the work you put into it each day. The moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you realize how much influence you truly have over what matters most. Your experience of life. This is not passivity. This is not mediocrity. This is mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That is the practice, channeling energy where it actually makes a difference. Look at world-class athletes. They don't waste time obsessing over the scoreboard. They focus on executing their technique, maintaining their discipline, and staying mentally sharp. They know that if they master what is within their control, results eventually take care of themselves. And when they lose, they don't collapse in regret. They learn, they adjust, and they rise again. This principle applies everywhere. In relationships, you can't control how others treat you, but you can control what behaviors you accept and how you show up. In your career, you can't control the economy or office politics, but you can control your skill development and your professional choices. In health, you can't control your genetics or accidents, but you can control your habits, your discipline, and your recovery. When you embrace this principle, something profound happens. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become a creator of experiences. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding with wisdom. You stop being at the mercy of events and start meeting them from a place of strength. Of course, releasing control doesn't happen overnight. It's a daily discipline. You'll catch yourself slipping into control mode, but each time you gently redirect your focus to what you can influence, you grow stronger. The next time you feel stressed about something beyond your reach, pause and ask, what part of this situation can I actually influence? What action can I take right now that aligns with my values? That shift, from trying to control outcomes to mastering inputs, is the root of inner freedom. When you practice this, you realize something incredible. You've been carrying a burden that was never yours to carry. You can care deeply about outcomes without being chained to them. You can give your best without being destroyed when life doesn't follow your script. That's the first step toward liberation. So let's anchor this principle together. Don't just nod and move on. Write it down, declare it, make it yours. Comment this mantra: I focus on what I can control, and I release what I cannot. Number 2, embrace impermanence as your teacher. Everything you love will eventually change or disappear, and everything you hate will also pass. At first, this sounds depressing, but in reality, it's the most liberating truth you can ever accept. The Stoics, like the Buddhists, saw impermanence not as a curse, but as a gift. Marcus Aurelius reflected often on the fleeting nature of life, writing, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher who influenced Stoicism, said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river. And he's not the same man. Everything flows, everything shifts, and suffering comes not from impermanence itself, but from our desperate resistance to it. Right now, you might be clinging to something that is already changing: your youth, your relationship, your job security, your health. You're investing enormous energy trying to freeze moments in time, trying to make the good permanent and the uncomfortable disappear. But here's the paradox the Stoics uncovered. When you stop fighting impermanence and start flowing with it, life becomes richer, not poorer. Think about cherry blossoms in spring. Their beauty is celebrated not despite their short bloom, but because of it. The brevity makes every moment precious. The same is true of your relationships, your opportunities, your health, your time with loved ones. Their impermanence makes them more valuable, not less. When you truly grasp this, you stop wasting energy on petty arguments. You stop postponing happiness until someday. You start investing in what matters right here, right now. The fear of impermanence traps people in two patterns: clinging desperately to the good or avoiding desperately the bad. Both are prisons, but when you embrace impermanence as a teacher, you learn to hold life lightly. You love fully, knowing love evolves. You work hard, knowing careers change. You enjoy success, knowing it won't last forever. You endure hardship, knowing it too will pass. Impermanence doesn't make you detached. It makes you present. It makes you grateful. It makes you resilient. You stop chasing permanence and start savoring presence. This practice begins in small daily observations. Notice how your moods shift throughout the day. Notice how your body feels differently in the morning than at night. Notice how conversations rise and fall, how seasons change, how even the sky is never the same twice. The more you notice change in small things, the more prepared you are for bigger transitions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me? What new space is this change creating?" That's why the wisest people are not those who avoid change, but those who dance with it. They surf the waves instead of drowning under them. Endings create beginnings. Loss creates space for new growth. Every sunset clears the sky for a sunrise. When someone you love passes, the impermanence makes each memory more precious. When a career ends, the chapter closing makes room for reinvention. When your body ages, it teaches you to find identity in what is eternal: the mind, the spirit, the virtues you cultivate. Impermanence isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. And once you embrace it, you discover a peace and joy that nothing in this changing world can take away. Number 3, transform your relationship with failure and rejection. Failure and rejection. Two words that most people spend their entire lives running away from. But here's the truth that will change everything. Failure and rejection are not happening to you. They're happening for you. Every no you receive, every door that slams shut, every plan that collapses, none of these moments are punishments. They are recalibrations. Life is not tearing you down. It's redirecting you, reshaping you, and teaching you what no book, no seminar, no easy victory ever could. Thomas Edison, whose inventions transformed the modern world, once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This wasn't blind optimism. This wasn't denial. This was the radical reframing of what failure truly is: feedback, not a final verdict. Edison didn't see failure as evidence of weakness. He saw it as progress, as data, as the very material from which success is built. Most people, however, develop a toxic relationship with failure. They treat it like a mirror that reflects their deepest insecurities. When they fail, they conclude they're not smart enough, not talented enough, not worthy enough. When they're rejected, they don't just lose an opportunity, they internalize it as the world rejecting them as a person. But here's the Stoic reframe. What if you could see failure not as an attack on your worth, but as a tool for your growth? What if rejection wasn't a dead end, but a redirection? What if setbacks weren't signs to quit, but setups for comebacks? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." The Stoics called this truth. The obstacle is the way. Whatever blocks your path doesn't keep you from the path, it becomes the path. The challenges in front of you are not barriers. They are invitations to rise, to expand, to transcend who you were yesterday. Think about your muscles. They grow only when they meet resistance they cannot easily handle. It is the strain, the micro tears, the discomfort that leads to strength. Life works the same way. Your character develops through moral challenges. Your skills sharpen through difficult projects. Your resilience strengthens only by enduring loss, failure, and rejection. That job rejection, it may be protecting you from a toxic work environment and pointing you towards something better aligned with your purpose. That relationship ending, it may be freeing you from an attachment that was limiting your growth. That business collapse, it may be the lesson that equips you to build your next venture stronger, wiser, and more enduring. But here's the key. You must learn to separate your actions from your identity. You are not your failures. You are not your rejections. You are not your mistakes. You are the person who learns from them, transforms through them, and emerges stronger because of them. Epictetus reminded his students, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Failure, in this light, is never about what occurred. It's about what you choose to make of it. Now, this doesn't mean you should recklessly seek out failure or act carelessly. Stoicism is not about negligence, it is about courage. It's about pursuing excellence without being paralyzed by the fear of falling short. It's about taking intelligent risks, knowing that even if some efforts collapse, the lessons gained are priceless. Look at the most successful people in history. Their greatness is not marked by an absence of failure, but by a different response to failure. They fail faster. They learn quicker. They bounce back stronger. They understand that failure is the price of admission to every worthwhile endeavor. Rejection, it's often just a numbers game. And persistence, when combined with reflection and learning, beats raw talent every time. When you transform your relationship with failure, you also transform your relationship with risk. Instead of hiding from challenges that might bring disappointment, you start seeking challenges that bring growth. Instead of playing it safe and staying stuck, you begin to play to win, knowing that losing is part of the journey. Of course, this mindset requires practice and self-compassion. When you stumble, resist the urge to beat yourself up or make it a story about your inadequacy. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this? How can this make me stronger? What opportunity might this setback be creating space for? Reframing failure begins with your inner dialogue. Instead of saying, I failed, say, I learned. Instead of saying, they rejected me, say, that wasn't the right fit. Instead of saying, nothing works out for me, say, I'm building resilience and moving closer to what will. Seneca put it clearly, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Every rejection, every obstacle, every failure is a form of training. Remember, every person you admire carries a hidden archive of failures behind their triumphs. The difference between those who achieve their dreams and those who don't isn't the absence of failure. It's the interpretation of it. Winners see failure as education. Losers see it as evidence. Winners use rejection as redirection. Losers use it as confirmation that they should quit. Your current failure is not your final destination. Your latest rejection is not proof of your unworthiness. Both are stepping stones, part of the training ground for your next level of growth. So trust the process. Embrace the feedback. Let rejection refine you, not define you. Let failure shape you, not shame you. Keep moving forward, because the very obstacles you fear may be the exact tools that sculpt the person you are destined to become. Number 4, the art of emotional detachment. Without becoming cold, there's a massive difference between being emotionally detached and being emotionally unavailable. One creates freedom, resilience, and inner peace. The other creates isolation, emptiness, and a life controlled by chaos. The Stoics mastered the art of feeling deeply without being enslaved by their emotions, and this practice can transform every part of your life, from your relationships to your work to your sense of self. The Buddha taught, pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. The Stoics lived this truth daily. They knew that the space between what happens to you and how you respond is where all your power lies. Viktor Frankl, centuries later, echoed this wisdom. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space, the quiet moment before reaction, is where mastery of the self begins. Yet most people live as emotional captives. They wake up, happy or broken depending on circumstances outside their control. Confidence and joy are fleeting, dependent on luck, on validation, on outcomes they cannot command. They love only when love is returned. They smile only when the day goes well. And when life disrupts their fragile equilibrium, they crumble, feeling powerless. Their emotions are tethered to external events, which means they have no true freedom. But emotional detachment does not mean shutting down, becoming cold, or suppressing your feelings. True detachment means feeling fully, but refusing to let emotions dominate your actions. It means experiencing anger without acting recklessly, sadness without drowning, and joy without clinging to it, as if it were eternal. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every day, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoics knew that no external circumstance, no insult, no loss could touch the inner fortress of the mind unless you gave it power. Think of emotions like weather. You don't control the storm, but you do choose how to respond. You don't take the rain personally, but you carry an umbrella. You welcome sunshine without demanding it lasts forever. Emotions pass. They are natural phenomena, impermanent by design. Your task is to navigate them skillfully, not to resist or suppress them. The key principle is remembering, you are not your emotions. You are the observer of your emotions. When anger arises, a part of you notes, I am angry. When sadness comes, you notice, I feel this sadness. That observing self, the calm, silent witness within, is where your real power lives. From this vantage, you can feel fully without being controlled. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And Seneca wrote, "He who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary." These words capture the essence of emotional mastery. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Detachment allows you to stop suffering twice, once from the event itself and once from your uncontrolled reaction to it. Emotional detachment is especially transformative in relationships. It allows you to love without clinging, care without controlling, and be present without being consumed. You can offer support without taking on others' problems as your own. You can express your needs without demanding that they be met. You can feel hurt without making others responsible for your emotional state. You can navigate conflict calmly, listen without defensiveness, and respond with wisdom rather than instinct. The most emotionally mature people aren't those who never feel pain or anger. They are those who feel fully, observe carefully, and act wisely. Emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. They provide information, energy, and insight, but they do not define your path. Each emotional wave is an opportunity to practice mastery. This skill requires patience and self-compassion. You will slip back into reactivity many times. That's normal. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. Each moment you return to the observer position, each pause between stimulus and response, strengthens your freedom and resilience. When mastered, emotional detachment allows you to be passionate, without desperation, loving without neediness, caring without controlling. You realize that your peace doesn't depend on anyone else's behavior. Your confidence doesn't depend on constant validation. Your joy doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. You become the architect of your own inner life, a master of your responses, rather than a slave to fleeting feelings. This is true freedom. The ability to feel deeply, love fully, and remain unshaken, no matter what life throws at you. It is the foundation of all healthy relationships, the cornerstone of inner peace, and the hallmark of a life lived wisely. If you're ready to claim this wisdom, write this in the comments. I am the calm observer. I master my response. I choose my peace. Number 5, release expectations and embrace what is your expectations are, the invisible architects of most of your suffering. Think about it. Every time you feel disappointed, frustrated, or angry, if you peel back the layers, you'll find an unmet expectation hiding at the root. The traffic that ruins your morning. You expected a smooth drive. The friend who forgot to call. You expected consistency. The effort that went unnoticed. You expected recognition. It is not reality itself that creates the pain. It's the gap between what you expected and what actually happened. That gap is the birthplace of suffering. But here's the liberating truth. It doesn't have to be this way. Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese sage whose wisdom shaped Stoic thought, once wrote, "If you correct your mind, the rest of your life will fall into place." The correction he points to is not about forcing life to fit your demands. It's about shifting from demanding control to embracing acceptance, from clinging to rigid expectations to flowing with reality while still moving toward your goals. Right now, you carry thousands of unconscious expectations. You expect fairness in a world that often delivers chaos. You expect logic from people who act irrationally. You expect permanence in a universe built on impermanence. You expect tomorrow to unfold exactly as you planned today. And each time life fails to deliver, you suffer. The Stoics understood this trap well. Epictetus warned, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." What he meant was simple. People will not act according to your expectations. They will act according to their nature, their circumstances, and their level of awareness. To expect otherwise is to guarantee disappointment. But here's the key distinction most people miss. Releasing expectations doesn't mean giving up on life. It doesn't mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means holding your preferences lightly while releasing your demand that life obey them. A preference says, "I'd like for this to happen, but I'll be fine if it doesn't." An expectation says, "This must happen, and I'll suffer if it doesn't." Preferences generate motivation. Expectations generate misery. When you expect your hard work to always be rewarded, you suffer every time it isn't. When you expect fairness from systems built on inequality, you suffer at every injustice. When you expect others to always understand you, you suffer every time they don't. But when you convert expectations into preferences, you remain free. You still work hard, but you're not crushed when recognition doesn't come. You still care deeply, but you're not shattered when others can't meet you at the depth you hoped for. You still aim high, but you're not paralyzed when outcomes differ from your vision. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let's make this practical. Instead of expecting your commute to be quick, prefer it, but be prepared for traffic. Instead of expecting your partner to meet every emotional need, prefer deep connection, but embrace their humanity with its limitations. Instead of expecting life to follow your script, prefer progress, but welcome surprises as teachers. This mindset transforms relationships. When you expect others to love you in your language, you'll always feel unloved. But when you release that expectation, you begin appreciating the way they naturally express care. When you expect constant agreement, you'll always be disappointed. But when you release it, you start valuing authenticity over compliance. It also transforms your ambitions. Expecting success on your exact timeline will only breed impatience and self-criticism. but pursuing excellence without clinging to deadlines allows you to enjoy the process and notice opportunities you would have otherwise missed. Seneca captured this freedom when he wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future. That's the gift of releasing expectations. You stop waiting for the world to align perfectly before allowing yourself peace. You stop being crushed by the unpredictability of others and the chaos of events. Instead, you learn to dance with life as it unfolds. This isn't resignation, it's resilience. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. When you let go of the demand, that reality conformed to your imagination, you discover something extraordinary. Life, just as it is enough. Not because it's perfect, but because it's real. You no longer demand constant sunshine. You learn to walk gracefully in the rain. You no longer beg for permanence. You savor the fleeting beauty of the moment. You no longer rage against what is. You learn to work with it, to grow through it, to be shaped by it. And that is the freedom the Stoics called true strength. A life no longer ruled by disappointment, but enriched by acceptance. Number 6. Stop seeking validation and start validating yourself. The moment you stop needing others to approve of your choices is the exact moment you step into real freedom. The chains fall off, your spirit breathes again. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." 2,000 years ago, the Stoics already saw the trap that keeps millions of us imprisoned today. Most people are living as prisoners of perception, slaves to the fleeting opinions of others. They dress not for comfort but for approval. They choose careers not from inner calling but from outer applause. They hold back their truth in conversations, fearing judgment. And in doing so, they never discover who they truly are. Ralph Waldo Emerson put it perfectly. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. That isn't just poetic, it's a battle, planned for authentic living. When you stop chasing validation from the outside world and begin validating yourself, you find a confidence that no insult can shatter and no praise is required to sustain. Right now, if you look closely at your choices, you'll notice how many of them are guided by an invisible audience. You buy the car that will impress neighbors. You post pictures to collect likes. You say yes to things you don't want to do, simply because you're afraid of disappointing someone. You're performing in a play where everyone else is the judge, and you're the contestant desperate for their applause. But here's the liberating truth. Most people are too busy worrying about what you think of them to spend much time thinking about you. The audience you're performing for? It's largely imaginary. And the approval you're seeking? Often from people whose opinions have no bearing on your growth, your peace, or your destiny. This addiction to validation starts early. As children, we learn that approval equals love. Behave this way and you'll be praised. Step out of line and you'll be punished or rejected. Slowly, we build an inner operating system that trades authenticity for acceptance. But this external validation is like a drug. The more you get, the more you need, and the high never lasts. No amount of applause can silence the inner critic. No number of followers can replace self-respect. No external crown can substitute for the quiet peace of knowing you are living aligned with your own values. The shift from seeking validation to giving it to yourself isn't arrogance, it's sovereignty. It's the reclaiming of your throne. Self-validation means becoming the primary source of your own approval while still remaining open to wise counsel. It means making decisions not based on other people's expectations, but based on your principles. It means defining success by your standards, not by society's scoreboard. And it starts with clarity. When you identify your values, what truly matters, not what you've been told should matter, you gain a compass that no external storm can break. Before any decision, ask yourself, does this choice align with my values? Does this path honor the person I'm becoming? Am I acting out of fear of judgment or out of authentic desire? Of course, choosing authenticity has a cost. You'll disappoint people. You'll say no to requests that drain you, and some will call you selfish. You'll voice opinions that reflect your real thoughts, and some will argue. You'll prioritize your well-being, and others will label it arrogance. But the Stoics remind us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus. That is the price of authenticity, and it is worth paying every single time. Here's the paradox. The people who genuinely belong in your life will respect your authenticity even when they disagree. The connections that demand you betray yourself to maintain them are not relationships. They're prisons disguised as love. Self-validation also requires practicing compassion toward yourself. Instead of waiting for others to acknowledge your progress, you acknowledge it. Instead of depending on others to comfort you when you fall short, you learn to speak gently to yourself. Instead of begging others to believe in your dream, you become your own fiercest advocate. And when you master this, you're untouchable. Criticism no longer devastates you, because you don't measure yourself by someone else's yardstick. Praise no longer intoxicates you because your worth isn't for sale. You can walk alone without loneliness, and you can sit in a crowd without losing yourself. This is what freedom looks like. The most magnetic people are not those desperately seeking applause. They're those who are at home in their own skin. They attract others not by performance, but by presence. Their authenticity gives everyone around them permission to drop their masks. That's real power. So stop waiting for the world to stamp your worth. That's not the world's job, it's yours. Your value doesn't depend on applause. Your dreams don't need permission slips. Your happiness doesn't need a vote of approval. When you validate yourself, you stop being breakable. You become whole. You become unstoppable. Number 7, practice the art of grateful surrender. For most people, the word feels like weakness, like throwing up your hands in defeat. But true surrender isn't giving up, it's giving over. And that distinction changes everything. It's the difference between collapsing under life's weight and learning to flow with its current. Grateful surrender is the practice of loosening your grip on how you think things must unfold, while cultivating deep appreciation for the way things are unfolding. It's not passivity. It's not indifference. It's active alignment with life's deeper intelligence. Rumi, the 13th century mystic whose poetry resonates with Stoic wisdom, wrote, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. Do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come?" That is the essence of grateful surrender. Trusting the unseen process, even when the outcome isn't clear. Most people confuse surrender with defeat. They imagine it means quitting, when in reality it means persisting, but persisting with wisdom, not with force. Defeat says, "I have no power, so I stop trying." Surrender says, "I still have power, so I act with all my strength," while releasing attachment to the outcome. The Stoics would call this focusing on what is up to us and letting go of what is not. Think about your own life right now. Where are you resisting reality? Maybe you're wrestling with a health challenge, pouring energy into wishing it away instead of managing it wisely. Maybe you're fighting against financial difficulties, clinging to fear rather than building creative solutions. Maybe you're forcing a relationship that has already run its course, exhausting yourself to keep it alive. Resistance drains strength. Response, fueled by surrender, restores it. Grateful surrender begins with radical acceptance. It's saying, "This moment, exactly as it is, contains what I need for growth." Acceptance does not mean approval. You don't have to like your circumstances to stop fighting them. You only have to stop pretending reality should be something other than what it is. As Epictetus taught, do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly. But here's the crucial part. Surrender alone can turn bitter. Bitter surrender is when you drop your efforts in resentment, muttering, "What's the point?" Grateful surrender is different. It means appreciating the hidden gifts wrapped inside struggle. It means asking not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What is this teaching me? What strength is this developing? What new door might this difficulty be opening?" Think of an athlete training under resistance. The weight that once felt unbearable eventually builds strength. In the same way, your challenges forge qualities, patience, resilience, creativity that comfort never could. Gratitude transforms obstacles from punishments into teachers. This practice doesn't mean becoming passive. Grateful surrender is deeply active. It's rowing with the current instead of against it. It's like a skilled sailor adjusting the sails to use the wind rather than fighting it. You continue to work, plan, and act with excellence, but without desperation for a specific timeline or rigid outcome. Transitions and uncertainties are where grateful surrender shines most. Maybe your career is in flux. Maybe a chapter of life is ending and you don't know what's next. Instead of panicking at the unknown, surrender allows you to trust that breakdown often precedes breakthrough. Instead of clinging to the old, you create space for the new to arrive. In relationships, grateful surrender means releasing your need to control how others love, support, or understand you. You can communicate clearly, set boundaries, and express needs, but you release the demand that others meet them in the exact way you imagine. You give love freely without turning it into a transaction. You accept others as they are, not as characters in your script. In career and creativity, grateful surrender means giving your best effort without chaining your peace to recognition, timelines, or external reward. You pursue excellence because excellence is its own reward. You create passionately because the act of creating fuels your soul, not because you're guaranteed applause. And ironically, this freedom often leads to deeper success because you're no longer strangled by expectation. At the heart of grateful surrender is faith. Not necessarily religious faith, but a deeper trust in life's intelligence. Trust that your experiences, even the painful ones, are not random punishments but carefully shaped lessons. Trust that setbacks might be setups for something far greater. Trust, as Seneca said, that fate leads the willing and drags along the unwilling. Grateful surrender also means surrendering your need to know why. Some things will never make sense in the moment. You don't need all the answers to take the next step. You only need trust. Trust in your resilience, trust in your capacity, and trust in the unfolding. When you practice grateful surrender, peace no longer depends on circumstances. Strength no longer comes despite challenges but through them. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. You shift from controller to channel, from struggler to student, from victim to vessel. The most resilient, successful, fulfilled people are not those who control every detail of life. They're the ones who surrender gracefully while acting wisely. They let go of what isn't theirs to hold, while giving their best to what is theirs to do. They release outcomes while committing fully to excellence in action. That is the paradoxical power of grateful surrender. When you stop gripping life with clenched fists, you finally have the open hands to receive its greatest gifts. Number 8, let go of who you used to become who you're meant to be. The person you were yesterday is not the person you are required to be today. One of the most limiting beliefs you can carry is the illusion that you are fixed, unchangeable, defined forever by your past choices, mistakes, or circumstances. In truth, you are a being in constant evolution, ever capable of transformation, if only you have the courage to release outdated versions of yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminded us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The essence of this wisdom is clear. Becoming who you are meant to be requires action rooted in your evolving self, not attachment to who you once were. Right now, you might be carrying identities that no longer serve your growth. Perhaps you still see yourself as the shy, uncertain person you were in high school. Perhaps you identify with the failures you endured, the times you felt powerless, or the ways you allowed yourself to be defined by external circumstances. Maybe you cling to being the people pleaser, the perfectionist, or the individual who prioritizes others above all else, even at the cost of your own well-being. These old identities feel comfortable precisely because they are familiar. But comfort, as the Stoics would warn, is often the enemy of virtue and growth. Letting go of who you used to be doesn't mean rejecting your past or denying your experiences. It means refusing to allow your past to dictate your future. It means taking the lessons, strength, and wisdom your experiences have given you while releasing the limitations, fears, and narratives that no longer serve you. Every challenge you've faced has forged resilience. Every mistake you've made has offered insight. Every setback has revealed strength you didn't know you possessed. You can carry these gifts forward while shedding the worn-out identity of being someone defined by struggle, limitation, or past failures. This transformation demands identity flexibility. a concept recognized in modern psychology but deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Identity flexibility is the ability to revise your self-concept based on evidence of who you are becoming. When you accomplish something you once thought impossible, instead of dismissing it as luck, you integrate it into your evolving identity. When you handle a previously overwhelming situation with grace, you acknowledge your growth. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Growth is realized by consciously choosing who you will be today, rather than remaining shackled to who you were yesterday. The most profound transformations happen when you act like the person you wish to become before you feel like that person. Want to be confident? Take actions that confident people take, even if uncertainty lingers. Want to be disciplined? Build structure and follow through, even when chaos surrounds you. Want to be loving? Express love courageously, even when fear or past hurt lingers. This is not blind imitation. It is understanding that identity follows action more reliably than action follows identity. You do not become a runner because you feel athletic. You feel athletic because you consistently run. You do not become successful because you feel worthy. You feel worthy because you take actions that create success. Letting go of old identities also means releasing attachment to being consistent with your past self. You are not bound to the same opinions, fears, habits, or limitations simply because you once held them. Growth demands temporary inconsistencies with your previous self. Evolution often requires betraying old patterns in service of the emerging self. This can feel uncomfortable, even frightening. Your old identity, however limiting, offers the illusion of security. But consider the caterpillar. It must fully dissolve to become a butterfly. True transformation requires releasing the old to allow the new to emerge. The practice begins with awareness. Notice the stories you tell yourself. I'm not good with money, I'm not a morning person, or I'm just not the type of person who... These statements are not objective truths. They are beliefs that shape your reality. By consciously changing these narratives, you change the trajectory of your life. Experiment with new behaviors, thought patterns, and responses. Observe what resonates with your authentic self and serves your highest good. You may discover that you are stronger, more capable, more resilient, and more loving than you ever imagined. The truth is that the person hearing these words right now has unlimited potential for transformation. You are not condemned to repeat the patterns of your past. You are not defined by mistakes, failures, or circumstances you once endured. You are a constantly evolving being with the power to recreate yourself in every moment. Let go of who you were, honoring the lessons learned and the resilience gained. Embrace who you are becoming with curiosity, courage, and excitement for the possibilities ahead. Your best self is not behind you. It is emerging through you, right now. Number 9, trust the process even when you cannot see the destination. The most profound transformations often happen in darkness, invisibility, and uncertainty. Seeds grow underground before they break through the soil. Butterflies transform in the hidden confines of their cocoons. Your greatest breakthroughs often occur during periods when progress feels invisible and the next step is unclear. Learning to trust the process even when you cannot see the outcome is the final mastery of letting go. Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who discovered profound meaning in the midst of unimaginable suffering, wrote, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." This insight cuts to the heart of trust. Sometimes the process you need to trust is not about changing your circumstances. It is about allowing your circumstances to change you, deepen you, and reveal capacities you didn't know you had. Right now, you may be in the middle of processes you cannot fully comprehend. Perhaps you are healing from trauma and cannot yet see when wholeness will return. Perhaps you are building a business and cannot yet see when success will emerge. Perhaps you are cultivating a skill or developing spiritual depth, and the fruits of your labor remain invisible. The urge to know the end before taking the next step is natural, but it is also limiting. When you demand certainty, you risk missing the growth that unfolds only in the unknown. Trust is not the belief that everything will unfold exactly as you want. Trust is the confidence that you can handle whatever emerges, learn from whatever happens, and discover meaning in whatever unfolds. Trust is knowing that the process is working on you, even when you cannot yet see how your actions are shaping the outcome. Every process has seasons, much like nature. Spring brings new growth and possibility, but also uncertainty about what will bloom. Summer brings activity and cultivation, but also hard work. Fall brings harvest and results, yet also the letting go of what must end. Winter brings rest and dormancy, but also the deep preparation necessary for the next cycle of growth. Most people attempt to bypass the hard seasons, seeking constant spring or summer, visible progress, and instant results. But personal transformation mirrors nature. It requires periods of unseen development, apparent setbacks, and mysterious transitions. The practice of trusting the process begins with accepting that you do not need to understand every challenge. You do not need to know why certain difficulties appeared, when they will end, or precisely how your efforts will pay off. You only need to show up consistently, with integrity and openness to what life presents. Trusting the process does not mean passivity or abandonment of goals. It means taking inspired action while releasing attachment to specific timelines or outcomes. It means performing your role with excellence while allowing life to work through its own wisdom. When you are in the middle of difficulty, recovery, education, relationships, creative pursuits, moments will come when you want to quit because you cannot see the progress. These are exactly the moments when trust becomes most vital. The breakthrough you seek may lie just beyond the point of frustration. The processes that transform you most deeply often make little sense in real time. The job loss that leads to your dream career, the heartbreak that opens you to deeper love, the illness that teaches you what truly matters, the failure that develops resilience for future success. Trusting the process also means listening to your intuition about what steps to take next, even when they defy logic. Sometimes progress requires slowing down while others rush forward. Sometimes it requires changing direction while you appear to be on the right path. Sometimes it requires moving backward before advancing. The most successful and serene people are not those who can predict the future. They are those who can trust the present, recognizing that every moment contains exactly what they need for their next level of growth. Even when it comes disguised as confusion, challenge, or delay, when you truly trust the process, you stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with opportunities. You stop resisting the timeline and start working with the rhythm. You stop demanding to know the ending and begin appreciating the journey. You discover that the destination was never separate from the path. The path is the destination. Your life is unfolding exactly as it needs to for you to become who you are meant to be. Trust the timing. Trust the challenges. Trust the growth. Trust the mystery. The process knows what it is doing, even when you don't. You now have 9 transformative principles to guide your journey of letting go. But understanding these concepts and living them are 2 different things. Real transformation happens when you begin applying these insights to your daily life. One situation at a time, one choice at a time, one breath at a time. Mastering the art of letting go is not about perfection. It is about skillfully noticing when you are holding too tightly and gently loosening your grip. It is about recognizing when you slip back into old patterns of control and resistance and compassionately returning to flow and acceptance. The Stoic path is simple but not always easy. Focus on what you can control, accept what you cannot, and cultivate the wisdom to know the difference. Release the illusion of permanence while fully embracing the present moment. Transform your relationship with failure, expectations, and external opinions. Practice emotional detachment without becoming emotionally unavailable. Trust the process, even when you cannot see the destination. Each principle builds upon the others, creating a comprehensive approach to inner freedom. You do not need to master all 9 at once. Begin with the principle that resonates most deeply with you today. Practice it until it becomes natural. Then integrate the next. Your journey of letting go is also a journey of stepping into your power. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space for what does. When you stop resisting reality, you can begin working skillfully with it. When you let go of who you were, you make room for who you are becoming. The freedom you seek is not somewhere in the future. It is available right now. In this moment, through the simple act of releasing what you cannot control, and embracing what you can. Take a deep breath. Let it go. Step into the peace that has been waiting for you all along. Seal your transformation with this affirmation. Letting go equals leveling up. If this message has served you, like the video, share it with someone who needs these words. Leave a comment on which principle resonated most. And subscribe to Stoic Sage Academy for more insights to build inner strength and freedom. Your journey of letting go begins now.